Hi. Also great to virtually meet you. I'm Lisa Sauer. I've been in business and consulting for quite many years, and for the last years we've been working with different companies, both on local market as well as internationally, helping them to maximize the impact of social media. This is one of the reasons why we wrote a book on personal branding, which also is available in English, called The Brand Name You. And this is also the reason now why we're talking about strategic integration of personal branding and employer branding. I'm also an executive coach, and I see that there are a lot of opportunities to combine the self-development and self-growth as well as engagement of the employees in order to make them more authentic and more knowledgeable brand ambassadors. And this is one of the topics that we're gonna address today. So once again, welcome, and I hope that you ask us all of the questions and share your experiences as well, so we can get the maximum out of this 1 hour together.
So, and my name is Evelyn, and I'm also really passionate about sales marketing and, of course, branding and personal branding and employee advocacy. And with Olesia, during the past 5 years already, we have done really many seminars, but mainly different employee advocacy programs for different smaller and bigger corporations. At the moment, mainly in Estonia, but since most of them are already international, then also some in Nordic countries. But what we will discuss today is the importance of corporate brand ambassadors, and we will continue to do these kind of webinars every month. So it takes about 1 hour, and if you're busy during these dates, we can also send you later on these recordings. So next time we will introduce you 10 outstanding international programs for ambassadors, and in March then we discuss what has been our experience, how to successfully recruit and engage company brand ambassadors. But we hope that you see and hear everything. Since it's a virtual meeting, then please be as active as possible. You can add your questions or comments in chat. Please be present and take as much as possible from this webinar. And if there's some problem with audio or video, then just let us know. But let's start with the facts and statistics, because there's so many different studies about employer branding. So we will represent some of them to you.
Yeah, we have started to look into the employer advocacy topic a couple of years ago, and what we have seen is that this topic has been very popular on the international market for over a decade, but at the same time in Baltics and Scandinavia, this topic, which is of utmost importance, especially after the pandemics, is still starting to pick up. And also the reason why we are doing these types of webinars is perhaps to share our experience and increase the awareness about this topic also in local markets. So different statistics which look at the engagement of the employees as brand ambassadors continuously say that engaged employees, even just a small number of them, could generate very substantial financial rewards, as well as cut advertising costs. Of course, in Baltics and Scandinavia, we are not talking so much only about bigger companies with thousands of employees, but we also see that just a very small number of the active brand ambassadors operating, for example, exclusively on LinkedIn can make a dramatic positive impact. When we're talking about employee advocacy, we have to start with the fact that social media has changed everything, and it really turned all of the laws of marketing and sales and also employer advocacy upside down. And nowadays, social media and utilizing social media platforms is a way of living, and the majority of people have at least one social media channel. So you've seen on the previous slide that 98% of the employees are actively using social media. And what is also important from the branding perspective, employer branding perspective, is that 50% of the employees are already talking about their work on social media. If we're talking about employees sharing their experiences on social media, we have to ask ourselves whether their texts and posts and tweets regarding the employee are supporting the employer brand, or perhaps working against that. Why it's important? Because we as people tend to trust other people. We tend to trust people who are similar to us. And also the statistics supports this fact that majority of us trust employees' personal, so to say, social media channels much more than information which is coming from the corporate website, and also from the official social media platforms. It is also becoming more important if we're looking at the younger generation entering the job market. Potential employees are looking for information about their potential employer online, and quite many of them wouldn't consider even joining this company if they can't find anything on social media. And it's becoming more and more important if we're looking at the kind of paradoxical situation where companies, traditional companies who are market leaders, are not well represented on social media. So as a first thing, we really need to bring together the physical reality and actual position on the market with the representation on social media. Continuously different reports show that engagement of own employees on social media and sharing of the company's posts, as well as using their own platforms to build their authority, build their personal brands, results in at least 561% of more visibility. Now, coming from our personal experiences working with companies across different industries, in different companies, we can say that this statistics in reality is even bigger, and just a handful of motivated and knowledgeable employees can gain a visibility for the company exceeding 1,000 or even 2,000%. It also shows that once own people, given that they like the company and understand the strategy and the goals of the company, can also bring real and visible monetary value to everything that they are doing. And we can also see from the social media engagement that people, either potential candidates or potential clients or partners, engage more with real people behind corporate corporate brands, and also the leads that are generated through employees are of much bigger value. So this visibility, which is increasing, is making this situation on one hand a very big opportunity, but at the same time it presents a lot of challenges because as we've discussed before, employer branding and perception of the brand is created through different small interactions with the brand, and if we want the employer brand experience be consistent, all of the people who are associated with this brand have to be on the same page and share the same story, real story. When we're talking about employers engagement on social media, we can also see a significant results in terms of higher brand recognition. A lot of different researchers also say that people on social media through their personal networks have at least 10 times more of the connections and different connections than company brands, which results in message of the company really reaching much wider audience, resulting in a higher visibility and bringing significant results. So in order for us as a company to maximize the potential that comes with this visibility and the recognition, we have to start from building employer branding strategy, which integrates the potential of the people in our company. And Evelyn will tell you how we see this in this current situation.
Yes, we are every day more and more happier to see that there are so many companies and brands who take employer branding more and more seriously and already have strategies how to deal with this nice challenge. But the reason why we decided to do this webinars. We started already with them last year in Estonian language, but there are so many different startups and international companies who daily contact us and ask how we implement these strategies. Then it's easier to maybe discuss how we see it and how we have done it so far. So the reason why we started also today talking about the book called The Brand Name You is because there is a really important reason to engage your employees and also to build up their personal brands while building your company's employee advocacy strategy. So if we take a look of branding, we have to see all the different angles. So we in each company or organization we have corporate brand, which is of course really important, and usually it is built by marketing department or maybe management board. Then there is employer branding and employer advocacy, which is usually built up by HR. And then there are different personal brands, and of course each and every employee is really important in building up brand ambassador strategy and employee branding strategy. So of course the personal brands of management board or maybe even different departments is important, but actually each individual is also playing a huge role in this. We see that the only way how to make this win-win opportunity here is to also discuss this topic with the employees and to start to develop also their personal brands, because if they have also their own goal, which can be quite egoistic, but then they are really motivated also to help to build up employer brand, and this is a win-win situation where when employees are happy and also it's possible to get so much more visibility through this strategy. So which are the main goals for different companies we have worked with? Of course, the main goal is to attract maybe new talents, but also existing employees are really important. And then there are maybe younger companies who need to have more visibility or get brand recognition or just to grow. There are so many different reasons for different companies. So I think the first thing for everyone is to choose which is their goal, and of course to discuss it then also with the employees, and also to find their goals, which are the main goals for themselves. It takes time, this is for sure, and it's also happening 24/7 because we all, it doesn't matter what we are doing in the company, but we all consciously or unconsciously then create this employer brand. And of course it happens offline while meeting customers, potential new employees, also your own team, but it also happens online, and this has created so many new opportunities, different social media channels. And this is also the reason why quite often smaller companies can get quite a lot visibility, credibility, if they have a really strong employer branding programs, and if they deal with it constantly, then maybe some bigger corporations, if they are not so active in social media, or if their team is not so active there. And as we are talking about employee advocacy, then the customer, of course, is internal, the team inside the company, but also external. So all the potential talents and employees who we want to attract. And the most powerful tool in marketing is word of mouth. And of course, if it comes from your own team, then it's the best marketing tool what you can have, because of course, people trust other people and the recommendations so much more. And if we build up the personal brands of your team, then of course also the potential candidates quite often try to find different information about the company before they maybe come to work with you, but also they try to find out the information about the team, and the more there is, the more credibility it has as well. So it's quite a big opportunity, and we see it more, of course, as opportunity than challenge. But of course, you have to also consider all those challenges. And there's quite many benefits what you can have there, but yeah, maybe Olesia now continues here.
Yeah, it would be very nice thing to have all of your employees talking positively about the company, especially given the fact that half of them already do, but quite often there are a lot of things that are preventing employees from actively promoting their company on their social media, and those reasons have nothing to do with the level of satisfaction with the company, rather than employees really need their personal why. They are very perhaps different reason for why they would be using their social networks and talk about their employee. Of course, not every person can be a thought leader representing the company, but all of the employees, if they understand that the goal of the company and the brand mission can significantly contribute to the visibility and credibility of the company, and what is more important, really bring a human perspective, their own perspective of the brand, which has the potential to create authentic relationships with potential customers or potential people who want to join your company. There are people who can be extremely successful as brand ambassadors are the ones who feel that they want to develop themselves and they want to contribute more to the company and also to the industry in general, who share the same values, and or they already have some social skills and can share their knowledge, their experience, their learning, as well as personal stories online. We see quite often that once companies, irrespective whether they're big or small, start with employee advocacy programs, there are two main challenges with getting people on board. One is very directly related to the imposter syndrome. So people who have the knowledge and experience might not feel that they are good enough to share their knowledge with bigger audiences, or they don't know what specifically they can share, what specifically they should be talking about. And second big challenge is lack of understanding of the way the social media is working, lack of technical knowledge. And more companies are providing this very customized support and training to the companies. The easier it is to really amplify the effect of employees' voice, because Evelyn was talking about word of mouth as one of the most powerful tools in branding, and knowledgeable employees can be the same word of mouth that on steroids. So experiences from different companies have the same trend, that companies would regularly start with just an inspirational meeting for all of their employees to help them understand the company's goals and missions, and the importance of personal branding in today's reality, and at the same time would identify the ones who are brave enough to get them on the stage, on the virtual stage, and start building their thought leadership, because nowadays a lot of thought leadership discussions are happening online, and you really can't have a strong position as an authority if you are not visible on social media, if you're not taking participation in discussions that are happening on LinkedIn or in any other digital platforms. When we're talking about, if I can just switch the slides further. When we're talking about starting the employee advocacy programs, we really have to look at this from two angles. One is employer position and the goals that you want to achieve, but at the same time really look at it from the perspective of a potential brand ambassador, and what his or her challenges, what are the obstacles, and how to help them overcome that, so that we could create a win-win situation for all parties involved, and not only in the company, but also for the broader audience. We're looking at the different obstacles that are present, especially during the launch of the employee advocacy programs, but they could be continuously present also after the launch. Number one is time. Social media and presence on social media needs investment of time, and it is even more important for people to understand the reason for doing that. A lot of people, even if and especially if they have a very in-depth knowledge and understanding of the topic of the industry, is to find the content which would be relevant to their audiences and which would combine their personal perspective and the business goals of the company. We shouldn't forget that in our social media networks, there are a lot of people who know us personally, and this reputation and the way that I would look also in front of my acquaintances plays a very big role. Quite a lot of people also missing the link between the content that is pushed by the company, by the brand, and the reason why they should be sharing that. And quite often, as I've mentioned already before, people might miss some basic technical skills, which on the contrary, very easy to fix. But in all cases, if we're talking about visibility of the company through employees on social media, we have to talk about content creation. We have to be talking about people really standing on stage, taking ideas and thoughts that they have on the subject and sharing them with their audiences, building their audiences strategically. But we can't expect people who haven't done this to just jump into it and start creating long form articles or creating videos. They might have all of the knowledge and understanding of the topic, but they need a continuous support, especially in the launch phase, from the company, from the marketing agency, so that they would learn how to find the right topics, learn how to find the right angles, and learn how to present their knowledge in the format that would increase the engagement. So companies really need to look at it from very many different angles, and also once launching the employee advocacy programs, think about the support that they can give to their employees in terms of training, in terms of tools, in terms of examples, which can help people first to take this step to really stand on the stage and and speak up, because quite so often going online is equal to first going on stage in front of a very big audience. And we see that even people from the C level can have the same problems as just entry-level employees. So we really need to understand from the very beginning how we can get the people on board and how we can support them along this journey. I love your thought from a former human resources director of General Electric, who said that your employees would be happy to share your company's story. They just need to find their personal why. And we see it in every single training and every single program with companies, that people need to find their personal why. They need to gap the message and the agenda of the company with their personal goals. And if we're talking about the power of brand ambassadors in today's social media reality, we have to put aside this philosophy that we just would want our employees to share companies' message, to share companies' posts and their job promotions, because if you really think about that, nobody can build their thought leadership nor build a big and significant zone of influence if they're not sharing their authentic stories, if they're not sharing their authentic voice. The power of brand employees is becoming more and more important nowadays, especially on social media, because we see across different platforms that cost of the advertising is getting up. The visibility of the promoted material and content is decreasing, but at the same time, people on social media really need to see and connect with other people, with people who are representing the brand. So it's becoming more and more important to integrate strategically and show your employees on various levels of the company. So we're not really talking about showing the face of the CEO, but also integrating the personal brands of people from other departments, so that the message of the company would be authentic, but would also be relatable to very many different audiences. And this is kind of a paradox that is very common for social media, that we tend to see a lot of corporate communication on social media, which people on another side of the screen are not able to relate to. And if we are not integrating the real story as the real values and the real voices, very different voices, into our communication strategy, then we are really mixing out on very many important conversations, because conversations around brand nowadays are not happening on the company page, and they're not happening on the company pages in social media. They're happening in many different corners of the social media, and every single person who is associated with your company consciously or unconsciously is building the brand of the company. So really the goal of all brand advocacy programs is to help people, your people, be the best possible voice for your company. Because quite often we see that the people are not really understanding how their personal position and their personal activity on social media is affecting not only their personal brands, but is also affecting the employer brands. Nowadays, the borders between private and work life are very bad, and especially taking this into consideration, we really want to get our employees on board and help them succeed, because more empowered and more visible and strong personal brands are in your company, then the more successful and the more approachable and credible is the corporate brand. And all of the different trends in employer branding and employee advocacy programs is showing a continuous growth of importance of employee engagement, and the role of employees is becoming more and more significant, not only from the branding and marketing perspective, but also for the full organization, because we really have to look at it as an experience of our employees, experience of our company and the culture from inside out, and helping them to show the same experience in an authentic way to other audiences, so that the people who are just like us would want to come to work for our company. And we see this on a global market, that wider and wider spectrum of companies is actively investing in employee advocacy programs, both public and private. During last couple of years, we can see that companies in Nordic and Scandinavia also paying much more attention to this topic, and we see that if a lot of employee advocacy programs in the last 10 years were more focused on elite clubs or exclusive clubs with just a handful of employees, then now more and more companies are looking at the possibilities for scaling, meaning that they want to engage more and more employees into this type of programs. And also, once new employees are coming to the company, they would from very beginning have necessary knowledge and resources to join the forces of the employee brand ambassadors. We also see that there is a big increase in employee content creation, but at the same time, we shouldn't forget that employee content creation is just the very top of the pyramid of the social activity, and the ones that once the employees are ready to share their knowledge, it will take some time for them to try out different ways of communication and sharing some third parties articles and opinions before they would be ready to really start creating their own content. We also see on a global scale that there is less and less branded content and more, so to say, human content. And this is a very understandable and logical way of communicating on social media, but we also have to understand how those two things would be related to each other. So if we're saying that the employer brand is being built from different parts of the communication around the brand, so how is employee building his own brand on the brand platform of the company? We also see that there is a significant movement from celebrities and influencers representing the company to actually using our own employees on different levels to represent the brand and to talk about the brand. And last trends reports and analysis of this topic show that audiences tend to trust own employees much more, because we have a deep and great understanding that people who work for the company know more about products and services and are more reliable and relatable than celebrity or influencer who has no direct connection to the brand and is most probably paid for. We also see that there is a much a bigger usage of video, and it is a very good way to promote your people, to bring more of this human emotion and employees' passion into the social media and into the interactions with both the customers and potential employees. We also see that brand ambassador programs are becoming more and more regular. And we can say that this is really a new normal. And what is also happening is that the programs are moving more and more into the direction of empowering our own employees rather than just using them for promotion purposes. So for sure see that employer advocacy programs is not about just using real faces of the employees and employer branding on the corporate website or in job offerings, but that really helping each of employees to find this link between his personal interests and passions and that of the position and the company, to find their own meaning for the job, and then know how to share that in a way that it would be authentic, that it would help other people to connect and relate to the company. And we can also see that especially during and after the pandemics, the employee experience and employee satisfaction and their overall levels of happiness and well-being are becoming more important for the companies. If we used to talk about customer experience and customer satisfaction as #1 priority for companies, then today they are equalized. And actually just after the pandemics, for the first time, both the employees themselves, but also the market identified the employees as the most important stakeholder for the company. And if we're thinking about brand representation, brand image, brand promise, but also brand experience, we shouldn't forget that this experience comes from different people who represent the brand in different interactions, both online and offline. It is also important to remember that nowadays, and especially the younger generation that is joining the job market, is starting to pay more and more attention to the values and intrinsic motivations that job is providing. So those two facts combined together, one saying that employees are becoming more and more important, and at the same time that the values of the company should be really shared by the employees, are making these strategic usage of employees' voice in the branding more and more important. If we look once again at statistics, then majority of people joining the company are looking at the company's offerings for the perspective of the values. So do my personal values relate to those of the company? They also also looking very specifically for a match between the lifestyle of a person and also the style of the company, and whether the company would allow this style. And just a very small percent that puts as big of an importance on the career opportunities. So we're seeing a switch. Evelyn, I think that we should change the slide. So we really have to look at it from this perspective that we can't only talk about the job description and the possibilities for career and growth, but we also need to incorporate the values of the company, and not just talk about the values, but also show them. What is interesting from the employer advocacy perspective is that once people in the company find this own personal meaning for the job that they are doing, once they identify the values that mostly resonate with them personally, they are becoming much more satisfied with the company and their experience as part of the company. And as a very good benefit, which is directly related to the employee advocacy program, they are also willing to share the company's message and to promote the company, not only the culture, but also products and services. And on another hand, for not only for people who are choosing the jobs, values are important, they are also important for our customers, and they are also important for the investors. And if we're talking about things like values, we're talking about the companies. Why, if we're talking about sharing company story, we all have to remember that those are the things that speak directly to the heart of other people, and they should be authentic in order to really resonate with other people. And the best way to achieve that is to help employees find this link, find the most important values, and also find the most important topics of interest, topics that resonate with them. From the employer advocacy perspective, the Trust Barometer report from Edelman Trust for last couple of years has been showing a significant trend, which says that companies' experts, as well as just regular employees, are much more relatable and are considered much more trustworthy than the CEO of the company. Not mentioning that the messages that are coming from official corporate channels, faceless channels, are even less and less trustworthy. And in addition to that, business magazine Forbes already a couple of years ago showed a significant trend which has been happening for last decades, that corporate brands are being trusted less and less, and personal brands are trusted more and more. And the reason for that is that when we see people who are passionate about the industry and as well passionate about their job and the company, they present their message in an authentic way. And their passion for their job can be seen through. They are perceived as less aggressive, and it is easier for them to stand out, especially if they're incorporating their personal stories in their postings and articles about the company. They leave a positive first impression. They are more relatable, and the more they use their own unique voice and style, the easier it is for people who are like them to start to like them, to start to trust them. And in the end, all of those different voices representing the company, if they are aligned with the company's vision and mission and communication strategy, they result in trust towards the company. They result in increased visibility. They result in a bigger involvement from the audiences also on social media. They result in better and more intimate relationships, not only inside the company, but also with existing and potential customers, and which is of course one of the most important reasons for having employee advocacy programs in place in better employees. But we really see that this getting better and better employees should start from enabling and empowering your own employees, who then attract the people like them to join the company. And top 3 things that company and every company can help to build this kind of authentic employee advocacy is to have trust in the people, have trust in the fact that they would be the best representation of the company, help them find their passion, and then teach them and enable them to share this passion, and also of course training and mentoring and coaching to help people to grow and to develop themselves, and then put it to use both in the company and also promoting the company culture outside, and really see that this type of approach to employee advocacy and to employer branding creates win-win situations for all of the parties, not only from the visibility and credibility perspective, but also from the perspective of the general satisfaction, happiness levels, and well-being of the people who are working for the company. Because let's not forget a very disturbing statistic from Gallup research, which shows that today 85% of employees globally hate their job or actively disengaged. And we see that strategically developed and planned and implemented employee advocacy program can also help to reverse this statistic. Evelyn, you want to share some of the examples from the companies?
Yes, I think we don't have so much time till the end, but of course we can share how different companies have done it so far, and what is also our experience. So I hope you share the idea that there are so many opportunities here for smaller companies. Of course, the social media gives such a big opportunity because why we speak here so much about social media is that it is like marketing in steroids. So 20 years ago you had to spend so much time to write articles or to be on stage to be visible expert in your field, but nowadays it's easy. It also gives quite a lot of opportunities for bigger companies, of course, because there are so many brand ambassadors who can share their passion and also then to talk to customers or inspire potential talents. So of course what we see that those companies who are really successful, they focus on their employees. They are also focusing in their daily life also on their values. They listen to their employees and and the culture in the company is that everybody should know and share their why, corporate why, and also for every individual. And of course, there should be also trainings, because there are so many new platforms, and it can seem easy to create content, but actually it can be quite challenging, and the toolbox, it is easy to create for your employees, and then it's so much easier also to have this content, and you can share it then also. And what we see also, that gamification is something that is really important to make it more fun, so it wouldn't be so serious, and also people they are then easier to you can engage them more. So how usually we suggest to start this process? Of course, first you have to see what's the current situation. So you can do a small audit for your organization, and also for maybe every individual even. So so what's the current situation? Is it in online and also offline? And what is your goal? So the goal of the company, of course, is it to attract the best talents, or maybe to get up the productivity through really satisfied employees, or so on. But also then the individual goals for each and every employee to also get them to be motivated, and then to build up the strategy, to find the tools, and maybe then also agree with the team, and build up some maybe some things, how to do it, and why to do it. And of course, there are so many things what you can do already inside your organization, but of course you can also use outside help, and then as many gamification opportunities you can find, the better it is. So to sum it up, I think that the most important is to find the right goals and also metrics, so you can see how everything is developing. And sure, maybe you need some rules, but if they are too strict, then this also can harm those programs. So yeah, this is the way we have been doing it, and I think this is also something that you can build up from here. So thank you. We have exactly 2 minutes also for questions. So we are really happy that you took the time and listened to us. And if we can help you in any way, then let us know. And if you have questions, then please unmute yourself, or you can also write it in chat, or then later on contact us. So I don't see at the moment any questions, but then thank you so much, and hope to see you next month.
Yeah, thank you from my side as well. And also in the meantime, if you want to talk more about this topic, then don't hesitate to reach to us. And really hope that this seminar gave you ideas that you can implement in your company. Thank you and have a great day.